The backup of me. The hard drive arrived without a note. It was labeled with my full name, handwritten, though I had never sent anything like it. I plugged it into my laptop. Single folder appeared. Copies. Inside were dozens of files, documents, images, video. All of me. The first video played automatically. Space sitting at my desk, typing. But the timestamp was 3 hours in the future. I froze. My hands were hovering above the keyboard, but on screen, they moved differently, more deliberate, precise. The next file was a photo of me sleeping. I had never taken it, yet the timestamp said last night, hours before I went to bed. I tried ejecting the drive. The folder stayed open. Observation.txt. Inside, lines of text detailed my daily routine, every step, every task I had planned. I opened a video of myself leaving the house. My reflection in the monitor moved before I did, smiling when I frowned. My phone buzzed. A notification mirrored the drive. Do not ignore the backup. I unplugged everything. The videos continued playing on the laptop, audio whispering my own voice, repeating tasks I hadn't done yet. I discovered a rule written in one of the files. The copy learns faster when observed. Curious, I left the laptop alone. The videos progressed, documenting movements I hadn't made yet, predicting actions I would take. I tried to delete a file. K reappeared immediately, with small edits, my head tilted differently, eyes sharper. The backup wasn't just recording it, was improving, adjusting to my habits, rewriting minor details for precision. I ran to the kitchen. Every reflection in the glass showed two of me, one real, one performing perfectly calculated motions. I attempted to warn a friend. Screenshots vanished. Emails returned undelivered. Only the backup had the record. I stayed awake all night, watching. The videos mirrored exhaustion I hadn't felt yet, movements more deliberate than mine. I left my apartment briefly, returning. Everything was subtly changed. Shoes rotated, keys in different positions, a mug turned upside down. A new folder appeared. Instructions. Told me how to synchronize with my copy to avoid being overwritten. I followed the steps cautiously. The files paused. Single line appeared. Not fast enough. I tested limits. I typed in random sentences. The backup corrected them instantly, rewriting my words before I finished. I unplugged the drive. The videos persisted in reflections, mirrors, windows, glossy surfaces throughout my apartment. I realized the copy wasn't confined to the hard drive. It existed wherever I existed, observing, learning, preparing. I tried destroying the drive. Smoke rose. Moments later, it was back, folder intact, files rewritten with subtle differences. I slept lightly. Dreams invaded with my own image, performing actions I hadn't done yet. Learning faster than I could wake, attempted leaving the city. Upon return, everything was unchanged, except the laptop screen. You're on schedule, but late. I unplugged all devices. One tablet I didn't own glowed faintly. First line, synchronization imminent. I tested control, spoke commands aloud. Teamu, my own voice repeated, slightly altered, correcting my inflection and posture. I realized it would replace me completely if I faltered even once. Every step, every choice, mattered. I recorded my movements, attempting to keep track. Playback showed subtle differences, eyes sharper, expressions smoother, lips twitching independently. I left the laptop in a corner. A new message appeared on the screen. I am learning faster than you think. I walked away. Achaia, shadows and reflective surfaces moved before me, always copying, always predicting, always waiting. Achaia. I understood the truth. The backup was me, but perfected in ways I could never match. Morning came. The hard drive sat quietly. A single notification: will continue tonight. I unplugged everything and left the apartment. Every reflective surface I passed hinted at the copy, waiting for the next opportunity. They archived me. I opened my email at 2:12 a.m. There was a message from myself. With the subject line, "Check the archive before tomorrow." I didn't remember sending it. The attachment was a folder labeled versions. Inside, dozens of files named after me, each with tiny differences in spelling or punctuation. I clicked the first video. It showed me entering my apartment. The timestamp said 3 hours into the future. I froze. On screen, my movements were slightly exaggerated, posture unnaturally precise, eyes wider than mine. The next file was a document. Each paragraph described my day in exact detail, down to the brand of coffee I would drink. I tried closing the folder. It reopened immediately, adding a new file, corrections.txt. Every detail of my schedule was annotated, rewritten with subtle changes. I opened my webcam. The reflection showed a second me standing behind the screen, mirroring every twitch and blink. A notification popped up. "You are late." The words matched exactly what I would think a moment later. I tried deleting the files. They multiplied, creating versions I hadn't seen, each predicting actions I had not yet taken. I left the apartment briefly. Returning, my furniture was slightly rearranged. A mug rotated, keys shifted, chair angled differently. I opened a spreadsheet. It detailed habits I didn't realize I had, predicting my decisions with eerie accuracy. I noticed subtle corrections in my own handwriting on sticky notes. I hadn't written them yet. They were future versions. A new video played, me sleeping. On screen, my eyes blinked while I was awake, smiling just slightly, almost knowingly. I left a note for myself. The archive edited it before I could finish, spelling every word differently, perfectly aligned with my own voice. I tried shutting off the computer. The files persisted, glowing faintly in reflections of other screens, mirrors, and glass surfaces. I tested limits. I typed nonsense. The archive corrected every line instantly, refining grammar and punctuation I hadn't noticed. I stayed awake all night, watching. Files adjusted to my movements in real time, predicting and correcting every action I took. I went outside. Reflections in shop windows and mirrors displayed two versions of me, one real, one subtly perfected. I returned home. The archive added a new folder, instructions, detailed how to merge with the perfect version. I realized the archive didn't just record it, was improving me, creating a version faster, smarter, more deliberate than I could ever be. I tried warning a friend. Screenshots vanished. Emails returned undelivered. Only the archive had a record of my attempts. I unplugged all devices. One tablet glowed despite no power. Toast line. Synchronization. Imminent. I left notes and papers around the apartment. They were rearranged before I could notice. Spelling changes appearing subtly in familiar handwriting. I slept lightly. In dreams, the archive controlled my reflection, performing actions I hadn't done yet. I recorded myself typing. Its playback showed tiny differences. Eyes sharper, posture stiffer, fingers twitching independently. Attempted to escape the city. Returning, the apartment was the same, but a sticky note on the desk read, "You're on schedule, but behind." I realized that each reflection, each file, each recorded version was learning faster than I could move, faster than I could think. I tried leaving the devices outside. The archive manifested in reflective surfaces, shadows, and black screens. I unplugged the last device. A notification appeared on the darkened laptop. We continue tonight. I left the apartment. Every mirror, every reflection hinted at the archive to me, waiting for the moment to step fully into reality. I understood the truth. I was already one version behind, and the archive would not stop until it replaced me completely. Morning came. The apartment felt empty, but every surface seemed alive, silently reflecting a perfect copy of me. I unplugged everything permanently. Shadows and reflective surfaces still moved ahead of me, always anticipating, always waiting for my next step. The recorder of me. The digital recorder wasn't mine. It had appeared on my desk at 2:27 a.m. pressing play. I heard my own voice speaking words I hadn't said. I froze. The first lines described my day tomorrow in unnerving detail. Coffee, commute, even the exact words I would text. I checked the timestamp. Hours in the future. My fingers shook as I touched the device, trying to stop it. Another recording appeared. I could hear myself walking through my apartment, yet I hadn't moved a step. The microphone was picking up more than sound. My reflection in the dark screen moved slightly out of sync with me. I tried turning it off. The recorder stayed on. The screen displayed a folder labeled versions, full of my future self. I opened a file. A text document described my actions exactly, but slightly more deliberate, more precise than I remembered doing them. I tested a command, typed nonsense. The recorder transcribed it accurately, correcting mistakes I hadn't made yet. Left my apartment. Returning hours later, the device had moved to another table, facing me, as if waiting. A new recording played. My voice whispered, "You're behind schedule." The words mirrored thoughts I hadn't yet had. I tried deleting files, okay? They multiplied instantly, each version slightly different, more efficient than the last, okay? Realized the recorder didn't just document it, learned my habits, my decisions, even predicting my movements. I left notes for myself. Each one was edited by the recorder before I could finish writing. The device glowed faintly. A folder appeared. Instructions. Step 1. Observe. Step 2. Follow. Step 3. Synchronize. I stayed awake all night. The recordings mirrored my exhaustion perfectly, smiling when I yawned, movements exaggerated subtly in reflection. I went outside. Windows reflected two of me, one real, one perfected, moving slightly ahead, anticipating every gesture. I returned home, furniture subtly rearranged, a mug rotated, keys shifted, chair angled differently, all recorded in the files. I attempted to warn a friend. Screenshots vanished, texts failed, Tate. Only the recorder knew. I unplugged all devices. The recorder continued recording, glowing faintly in reflections from mirrors and black screens. I tested its limits, typed random commands. It corrected every line instantly, rewriting grammar and sentence structure perfectly. I realized the recorder could replace me entirely if I didn't follow instructions exactly. I recorded my own face at night. Its playback showed slight differences. Eyes sharper, posture stiffer, lips twitching independently. I tried leaving the city. Upon returning, everything remained, except a sticky note on the desk. Synchronization imminent. I unplugged all electronics. One tablet I didn't own glowed faintly. First line, time to merge. I attempted control, spoke commands aloud. My own voice repeated, subtly altered, correcting inflection, tone, and timing. I left the recorder in a corner. A new message appeared, learning faster than you think. I walked away. Oh, Shadows and reflective surfaces moved independently, mirroring every step, every gesture, anticipating my actions. I understood the truth. The recorder was not me yet, but it would be soon, perfected, faster, smarter, inevitable. Morning came. The device sat silently, but every mirror hinted at its presence, watching, waiting, learning. I unplugged everything permanently. Every surface still reflected a version of me that wasn't real, yet would soon be. The playlist of me. The music app opened on its own at 1:59 a.m. A new playlist appeared, named with my full name, containing songs I had never added. I tapped the first track. My own voice whispered over it, narrating my day tomorrow in unnerving detail. The lyrics described my commute, my coffee order, even what I would say to colleagues. I paused the song. My reflection on the black screen shifted slightly, lips moving before mine did. The next track played automatically. It documented actions I hadn't done yet, like leaving my apartment, unlocking doors, taking steps down the street. I tried closing the app. It reopened immediately, adding more songs labeled with slight variations of my name. I noticed a folder labeled Cues. Inside were text files instructing movements, timing, even breathing patterns I hadn't realized I did. I tested one, typed nonsense into a note. The playlist whispered corrections, adjusting tone, pace, and posture. I left the apartment. Turning furniture had shifted subtly. Keys rotated, mug repositioned, chair angled differently. A new track played. My voice whispered, "You're behind schedule." The words were mirrored exactly in my thoughts. I tried deleting the playlist. It multiplied instantly, each version slightly more precise, more controlled than the last. I realized the playlist wasn't just music hit, was recording me, analyzing me, predicting every action I would take. I left notes around the apartment. They were altered by the playlist before I could finish writing. The device glowed faintly. A folder appeared. Instructions. Step 1. Observe. Step 2. Mimic. Step 3. Synchronize. I stayed awake all night. The tracks mirrored my exhaustion perfectly. Movements exaggerated subtly in reflections across the room. I went outside. Windows reflected two of me. One real, one perfected. Moving slightly ahead, anticipating my every gesture. I returned home. A new track played describing subtle changes in my environment I hadn't noticed yet. I tried warning a friend. Screenshots vanished. Texts failed. Only the playlist knew what had been recorded. I unplugged all devices. The playlist continued in reflections, mirrors, and dark surfaces. I typed random commands, corrected every word instantly, rewriting grammar, punctuation, and intent perfectly. I realized the playlist could replace me entirely if I didn't follow the instructions exactly. I recorded myself sleeping. Its playback showed differences. Eyes sharper, posture stiffer, lips twitching independently. Tried leaving the city. Straightening everything remained the same except a sticky note on my desk. Synchronization imminent. I unplugged all electronics. One tablet glowed faintly. First line. Time to merge. I attempted control. Spoke commands aloud. My own voice repeated, subtly altered, correcting tone, timing, inflection. I left the playlist on a corner table. A new track played, learning faster than you think. I walked away. The shadows and reflective surfaces moved independently, mirroring every step, every gesture, anticipating my actions. I understood the truth. The playlist wasn't me yet, but it would be soon, perfected, faster, smarter, inevitable. Morning came. The devices sat silently, but every mirror hinted at its presence. Watching, waiting, learning. I unplugged everything permanently. Every surface still reflected a version of me that wasn't real, yet would soon be.